Hello, friends. My name is Claire, and I'm going to be doing a family cabin in The Sims 4. So, this is built in the vacation world that came with Outdoor Retreat. I am building this off of a picture I saw on Pinterest, but I did add a few bump outs because this house looks very boxy, and I wanted to make it a little bit more not boxy, a little bit more interesting. So I did add a bump out on the roof and then a bump out in the back. And so we are just going to start off with this little outdoor living room courtyard. And I am going to be using some items from the Desert Lux kit and the for rent pack in this house, and I decided to finally get the for rent pack, and I knew I couldn't do it too fast using the for rent pack. I wanted to go a little bit more slowly with the for rent pack and find things that I would use on a day-to-day basis before I find items or do a build where it's solely a for rent pack build, Asian inspired build, and so we are just going to be adding a few details around a fireplace. Looking for this item that from the base game that's firewood. I didn't find it, but I did find that little firewood scraper thing, and so finishing off this area with a coffee table, and now we are going to be going inside. I wanted this area to be very open. That was kind of the feel I got from the floor plan I saw on Pinterest, and I was thinking about having a coat rack area, but instead I end up going for this living wall, and I feel like this looks real cool, really artistic. Since this is a cabin in the trees, I decided to just kind of bring some of that inside the house as well as outside, and so we are just going to be adding just a few little things above the plants just to give it some more detail and some more interest. Thinking maybe that's the water system behind the little panels, even though you don't really need to have a water system for that item. I was just kind of using my imagination for that. Kind of have to do that a lot in this game, and so since there is no actual summer break in The Sims for your kids, I thought that this house would be perfect for a week-long vacation. That's what I was kind of going for with this house, and so I wanted there to be a lot of good living items that you would need on the day-to-day. Just since you can't take your kids out of school, you can have them go on a week-long vacation during the summer if you have seasons, and then it's basically the same thing, although I'm pretty sure, yeah, we do have the calendar in the day, or in the base game, so we are just going to be adding a little book area in a minute. At first, we are going to be going into the kitchen, and I want this area to feel very modern. My overall style for this cabin was modern cabin, and so we are going to be using these countertops from the Dream Home Decorator pack. I wasn't sure how big of an island I wanted, and so we are just going to be also adding some items from the Kitchen Hustle pack, and wanted to tie in this counter or island space. I'm using the same rug I used in Entry, but just in a different swatch, and I wanted this kitchen to feel very big and open, especially since I was mentioning that this would be a long-term vacation rental, and so we are just going to trying to find some shelves. I knew I wanted to have some shelves by the window because it bothers me sometimes when the counter or in the windows and the upper cabinet are touching. And so I wanted to that's why I wanted to add shelving onto the side of the cabinets where there's the windows, but this is pretty much the only little cabinet space I have. I do have lower cabinets for that type of storage, but I wanted to have the windows be its own moment, and so we are just going to be adding some books. I kind of halfway thinking they would be like purely decorative, and then halfway thinking that maybe the bottom ones are cookbooks. And so we are just going to be adding little plants. I wasn't trying to like overly clutter the space because I was trying to like have this like vacation rental mindset, and so we are just going to be adding some decorations from the outdoor retreat pack. I feel like this is just kind of like normal things you would have like out from day to day on a vacation rental. I have stayed in a few vacation rentals kind of similar to this, although it was with a larger family. And so it was a little bit different. I was imagining that this could either be for like parents with 5 kids, or grandparents would stay in the main area, the main suite, and then the parents, teens, and kids would all be in the bunk room. I've stayed in a cabin like that before, and it wasn't the funnest. My sister did like bonk her head because there was a ducting on the roof. She was on the top bunk, and there was like the roof wasn't flat. There was like air ducting, and she bonked her head real hard on the corner of it one time. But we only stayed there for a week, kind of like how your Sims can stay here for a week if you want them to. And so we are going to be using the new garbage can that came with the like weekly reward program, not weekly reward program, but like that new weekly gift thing that The Sims is trying out. And I feel like there's more space by the sink, and so that's why I moved it by the sink and not by the door to the primary bedroom. And so we are just going to be going and adding some plants because I feel like that just kind of helped bring in the green inside, and I didn't want to cover too much of this beautiful picture window that your Sims can look out into the backyard. There's a nice pond or river where I built this lot, and so we are going to be going and adding just a few details from the For Rent pack. I didn't want to like make this overly Asian inspired, but I did want to add some details I feel like could have like worked with the cabin rustic style. And so we are kind of working on the living room slash book area now, just going outside to add some more seating. And I just felt like this was kind of a fun spot to add some like log seating out here. And so just going to be going inside and trying to figure out how I want to do like the chairs and the seating in here. And so I do end up using these couches from the Dream Home Decorator pack, and I thought it'd be fun to have a little lounge chair, but it felt a little close by the bookshelf, and so I do switch it onto the other side. And here's that little book area I was talking about earlier. It's just a very cozy spot by the bookshelf, and so we are just going to be adding just a few things. I wanted to add some more plants in here, and so here's that one plant, but didn't want to like overly like take care of the plants. This is a vacation rental, and so I was trying to go for plants that look like they only need to be watered every so often. I'm not a plant expert in no means, and so I was kind of going with what would look good, and I feel like the tall plants would make sense because then it just has more time for the water to like seep into them. And so now we're just going to be adding a blanket basket and going into the dining room. So this is a very open concept area of the house, and so I wanted to make sure there was a lot of dining areas because you can have a lot of Sims sit and stay in this house, and so wanted to make sure that there was a nice dining area for the Sims. You can see I do have a toddler chair. I made a kind of like a multi-purpose room, but I'll talk about that in a minute when we get to there. But first we're just going to be adding some pictures above the little cozy book area and going into the the bedroom that I was thinking would be like a multi-purpose bedroom. I know some toddlers are a little bit difficult and kind of hard to play with, but I wanted to make sure that they did have a spot if your sim family does have a toddler, and so we are just going to be going into this bedroom. It took me a minute to like figure out what to do, and I decided to add a walk-in closet, and so we are just going to be adding that. And I wanted the other half of this room to be like a office area. Maybe one of the parents can't like fully take off work, and so they come into this room when the toddler isn't in it to do a little bit of work here and there. And so I just felt like I wanted this area to be very functional for a family that would be staying here for a week. And I watched a few like renovation shows or like renovation vacation rental house shows on HGTV. And this is like one of the challenges they had recently is to make like a multi-purpose room. And so I wanted to make a multi-purpose room in The Sims. And so we're just going to be adding curtains into this room, and these are the same curtains I add throughout the rest of the house. Wanted to keep it cohesive in that sense, and these are from the Desert Lux kit, and so it's another item that would work perfectly since I've already used some of those items in the front courtyard area. And to kind of tie it into a kid space, I did add a little wallpaper by the bed, and so now we are just going to be decorating the desk slightly, just trying to add kind of like the normal day-to-day desk things that a vacation rental might have. A lot of pictures, and so I did want to add some bookshelves so it can be a little bit more kid-friendly in here, but I feel like if the sim was on a quote-unquote video call, all the people on the camera would see is the big picture window with the forest in the background. And now we are just going to be adding some details into the hallway just real quick before we go into the hallway bathroom. I made sure that there was a tub in this room for the toddler. I was actually thinking of doing like an infant room, but I feel like that would be harder to play with in a vacation rental like this, so I just decided to go for a toddler because at least they can walk around by themselves. So I am going to be using this sink from the For Rent pack. It looks just kind of like repurposed and rustic, and that's kind of why I ended up using it. And so we are just going to be adding a little like toilet paper tower holder and going to just be adding more items that I feel like I add on a day-to-day basis when I build, but I feel like I was trying to be more careful because I'm like, okay, vacation rental in my mind. And so we are just going to be adding a mirror, and now we are in the bunk room. So I was mentioning that this would mostly be the kid zone area, and I wanted this area to feel very rustic, and that's why I ended up going with the bedspread I did. And so now we are just going to be realizing that this area is really big, and so I was tempted to add a double bed into this room, but instead I just made the bathroom a little bigger and made a spot for a walk-in closet in this room, and I feel like this area turned out pretty well. So I do start off with the bigger walk-in closet, but I do change it to be the smaller walk-in closet like in the multi-purpose room. And so we are just going to be getting that closet, just pushing it back slightly. And I did realize, wait, there's like 4 Sims going to be using this one bathroom, and so I decided to make a separate toilet and sink area, but there is also a toilet and sink in the bigger bathroom area. I don't know why I wasn't thinking like, oh, if the like Sims need to use bathroom, then they can just go outside of the room. But I was thinking of a hotel my family stayed in where the toilet and the sink were separate, or the toilet and the shower were separate. There was a sink in both bathrooms, I'm pretty sure. So we are just going to be adding some like upper cabinets over the toilet, and I feel like both of these bathrooms turned out pretty nice. I do just add a sunken living room just to kind of separate the space just slightly, and so we are now just going to be adding some or some like foundation markings to make it look smooth, not so rough, and going to be adding some mirrors. Like I said, I was trying to make this area into a kid zone mostly. I mean, you can always have like teens or young adults staying in this area, but I wanted this to very much feel kid friendly, and so we are just going to be adding some toys, going to be adding some pictures, and the pictures in the kid zone was probably the hardest part because like I didn't know like how like specific to make like the art, and so we are just going to be adding like a drawing table for some skill building. Maybe one of the kids doesn't want to go on the hike with the rest of the family, so the kid and the toddler are staying behind, or maybe there's hopefully a supervising adult supervising them. Wanted it to be playful in some aspects, so I do have these cool side tables from the Eco Lifestyle pack, and so we are just going to be adding these cute little rockets and going to be finding some like more toddler toys, and so you kind of see me going back and forth between this room and the multi-purpose room. And now we're just going to be adding some cloud stickers because I'm like, okay, this is generic. This will work for a kid's room, a teen's room. Not like nice, but it's not like too like specific of like bookworm or sporty kid. And I wanted it to just kind of bring the outdoors in, like having for the rest of the house. And so we are just going to be adding a little basket, and I do add this bear, but I do exchange it for one of the Bigfoot stuffed animals that came with the outdoor kid camper kit. I don't remember the exact name of that. There's a lot of packs nowadays, and so we are just going to be adding just a few like bunny stickers, again bringing those outdoors in. And so now we are on the second level, which I was imagining would be like the kids zone area, and so they got like kind of like game boards up here that they're using to prop up the speaker. You got a little dollhouse, and I feel like the bear chairs were going to be super cute since they're out in the woods, and pretty sure the pack that came I'm building this in, the outdoor retreat, does have a bear costume, so I thought that was extra funny to kind of pay homage to that. And so I feel like having like a kid zone would be good just to make the kids kind of feel special, and maybe the parents and the young kids are having a little disagreement on what movie to watch, and so just to make everybody happy, I put a little movie room up there, playroom up here for them. And so we are just going to be adding a little toy box and going to be adding a little railing because safety, it's important. And now we are just going to be adding some more cloud stickers. I feel like it's really cute to have this like starry wall paper, and I did add some mountains on the side of the window just to kind of break it up. And this is a very mountainous terrain in this world, and so we are just going to be adding some curtains for some privacy, although it's kind of private already, just being the only space up here on the second level. And since I was mentioning that this would be like mostly for the kids, it'd probably be kind of fun to just add some like art on the walls that look like possible drawings. And so now we are quickly going to be going outside before we go into the final space, which is the primary bedroom. And so I did add a small grilling spot and a picnic table that looks kind of park regulated, or like the park area brought it in. And I did also want to make sure that there was a fireplace because this is my favorite fireplace, but I just always forget that it's in the game because I don't usually use the outdoor retreat pack in my day-to-day builds. And so I like this fire spot because it looks very natural and not really like too like modern or like just bought it out of the box from Costco. And so we are just going to be adding a little cards table and going into the primary bathroom now. I did want to make sure that all the spaces feel cohesive, so I do have the same tile and the same like wall tile in the bathrooms, and so we are just going to be adding a little sink spot. And I wanted this area to feel kind of private, so that's why I put the shower in a or the toilet in a different room than the shower and the sink. And so we are just going to be adding just all the details, all the normal bathroom things. I do add a little like bathroom robe and going to be adding some bathroom mats. And now just in the actual bedroom part of the primary suite, and wanted to add a fireplace into this room. So this house in total it has two fireplaces, and I wanted to use this new bed that came for the for-rent pack because it reminds me of the bed I have in real life. Slightly different, obviously, but it reminds me of the little canopy bed. And so we are just going to be going and adding a little like raised spot for the fireplace because I feel like it needed to be its own moment. Just kind of felt like it brought a little safety feature having the fireplace raised up just by one. And so we are going to be adding a little living wall. You kind of saw me do that earlier, but I wanted to kind of like tie that in to the like entryway of the house. And so we are just going to be adding a little stone wall by the fireplace to make it feel a little bit more rustic. And we are just kind of finishing up this video, and we're just going to be adding the final details. And so if you enjoyed watching this video, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I post new videos every single Tuesday, and if you like what you see, you can comment down below. I'm kind of surprised I made a video this long, and so if you want to comment any ideas for a shorter video, you can leave those down in the comments. That would really help me out. And so we are just going to be finishing up all these spaces, going to finish off the primary bedroom with a long rustic couch, and going to be going into this courtyard area to be adding some more lights. I feel like this area looks super pretty at night, and so we are just going to be going and adding those final details in there, and going to be adding this rustic couch. I feel like this is a longer video that I've done, so if you like these videos, make sure to hit that like button. And if you prefer shorter videos, like I said, please leave your suggestions down in the comments. And so I hope to see you all next Tuesday for another Sims 4 video. You can also follow me over on Instagram. I recently hit 101 followers, so if you want to get me to 110 followers, that would be awesome if you would go follow me there and subscribe, because I am trying to match my Instagram following with my YouTube following. So I hope to see you all next week for another Sims 4 video, and I hope you all have an amazing week. Bye!